The Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 is almost with us. Let's take a quick look at the device before it gets released. We are now just under 2 weeks away from the release of the Galaxy Tab S6. Now, we do have a history of premium Android tablets coming from Samsung. However, they normally do hold some of the features back that they include on their mobile phone range. The reason probably, most likely to be, is because people will pay more for a phone than they will for a tablet. If you want to see a really good example of this, if you look at the iPad pricing compared to the iPhone pricing. Bearing in mind you get a much larger display with a tablet, it's quite bizarre that you would get a much smaller mobile phone that costs more, but the reason being you're getting a lot more features on a phone. However, Samsung seem to have changed the trend a little bit this time, and they have packed in some pretty spectacular features for a tablet. So just looking on the website for the Galaxy Tab S6, we can see the creativity without boundaries is the strapline that you are hit with right in the face, pretty much. So as we see with a lot of the advertisements for the iPad Pro, a lot of it focuses on productivity and creativity. I think Microsoft were one of the first to start doing that with the Surface advertisements. Okay, so we do have the classic image there of the pencil or pen. It's not a pencil with Samsung, it's a pen. What the difference between a digital pencil and a digital pen is, I will never know. But it does the same as an Apple Pencil. And of course, quite a lot of people out there are creative types and they like to draw pictures with a pen. So we seem to see this trend of trying to suck you in to purchase a productivity device now, with usually a video or an image of someone with a digital pen or digital pencil drawing lovely images on the screen. It's not something that I tend to want to do, but not going to be spending millions on advertising their devices and showing you something that nobody wants to do, because that would just be stupid. So there will be people out there who want a pen on their tablet and they will want to draw lovely pictures. So the Galaxy S Pen, highly reviewed by pretty much everywhere that has done a review on the S Pen. Really nice device. I haven't got one. I haven't got a device that can actually use one, but I've seen them in action and they are really impressive. So I won't show you the video on the website, but I'll put links to the Samsung website down below. So let's have a look at what key features we are getting. So as previously mentioned, the S Pen, Samsung DeX. If you've not seen that in action, brilliant. Turns your Samsung device, either a phone or a tablet, into pretty much a full desktop PC running Android. Really nice. Some brilliant accessories you can get for it, and it really does show you that you can be productive on an Android based device. Got dual cameras, so that's a trend that we've had in phones for a long time now, and now Samsung have finally jumped and added them into their tablets, or their premium high-end tablet rather. CPU speed, we have several processors in there, 2.8 GHz, 2.4 GHz, 1.7 GHz. Take a bit more of a detailed look at that in a moment. And then the S Pen handily attaches to the back of the tablet. So whether or not I think that's worse than the iPad Pro, where you can magnetically connect it to the side, I'm not sure. But it's a solution. It would be nice if it did like they do on the Galaxy Note, where you can actually slide the pen into the device. But at this stage, the solution they've come up with is to attach it to the back magnetically, and it charges the pen. And then we have a lovely image of someone using the S Pen to write some notes on what looks like a video they are watching. So again, multi-window, very handy, especially when you are using the device for productivity, which how well it's executed, I'm not sure yet, but we will find out hopefully at some point. The S Pen has got a button on it, so you can do things remotely, which is really cool. If you've not seen that, there's plenty of videos on YouTube about that. And then we've got some more focus on drawing. I'm not sure what that app is. Perhaps it is a Samsung specifically designed app for the tablet, but there is Autodesk Sketch, which does seemingly look a little bit like that. I'd imagine is as powerful. You get 4,096 different levels of pressure sensitivity for the S Pen. Very impressive, that. Such a high number. And then we get a bit of an explanation on the Samsung DeX experience. So we've got an image here of the keyboard case, which you can use to control it. That doesn't come with the device, but it does. It is available to add to the device. And with that, you can start using it as though you are using a desktop PC. Obviously, it's not running Windows or Mac OS, but it does have its own lovely front end, which is very handy. Not all Android apps are compatible with it, but most can be scaled and used in it. But just don't expect to be able to play games in a windowed mode all the time. And I'm going to have to just take a break from filming this video because it is so hot here in the UK that I am actually sat here sweating. And I am back. So next we get a bit of an overview of the multi-window on the S6. So I've got actually in front of me here, I've got Galaxy Tab A 2017, I think it's technically called, and it does have the multi-window, well, split view, sorry. So I do regularly use that, and so you'll have like YouTube on one side, and then maybe Twitter on the other side, and you can interact with both at the same time. It's really cool. I think, to be honest though, most iterations of Android, or most skins of Android, support something very similar now. So it's not a particularly new feature, nothing that you wouldn't get on a much cheaper device. But it's still good. The Samsung implementation is excellent. And then it says a full film studio from step 1 to done. So this is where we're looking at the camera. So we've got two cameras on the rear of the Galaxy Tab S6. A 13 megapixel and a 5 megapixel with an ultra wide angle and smart AI. Shoot like a professional and optimize the tone of your shots. Now, I've been editing video on an Android device for at least 5 years now, if not more, and I use Power Director, which is a really good app. I would check it out if you haven't already. It looks like there's possibly some Samsung video editing software here on the image, but looks like it's quite intuitive with the storyboard mode there. Whether or not I'd say it's a full film studio is a bit not sure I agree with that, but yeah, the cameras are good. That's basically what I think we need to agree with on this one. So it does say here it's Adobe Rush, so you can get a 20% discount off the monthly fee for that. I've not really used Adobe Rush, but I'm not much of a fan of subscription-based apps. I don't think it's really a suitable model for something that's on a touchscreen device, but that's just my opinion. Then we've got next generation processing power. So this is where we start to get into new phone territory here. So the hardware that Samsung are packing into this is phenomenal, as far as tablets go. As far as phones go, it's okay, but yeah, for a tablet, incredible what they've done here. So we've even got a lovely image there of Fortnite being well, I say being played on the device, but it doesn't really look like that to me. It just looks like a photo. It doesn't really explain actually about the speed of the processor there, but we will look at the full specs in a moment. It says hoard to your heart's content. So we've got, the model comes in several different models. So we've got there's LTE versions of these, and then there's Wi-Fi versions. So we've got one with 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage, and then we've got a model with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. That is a stack load for a tablet. That to me opens up a few more opportunities. In my spare time, I have a job, but I also do some DJing, and I am actually now in a position where I can start doing it with my tablet. So that's quite good. And having all that storage means I can take my entire music library with me. At the moment, I do try and take it all with me, but storage can be a slight issue. So that 256 gig version of the Tab S6 would be superb and very, very practical for me. You can also add SD cards to the device, which is fantastic. I like the fact that they are continuing with SD support on a lot of their devices. I realise not all of their recent devices have got the option to add an SD card, but this device does, and it's really cool. Then we've got the battery, over 7,000 mAh battery. That is massive, and really decent size for a tablet. Video playback of up to 14 hours, really cool. And there's also, it supports fast charging across USB-C, so fantastic there. We've got fingerprint unlock in the screen, so that's great. Saves us popping in a PIN number or that sort of annoyance. And we've got Wi-Fi speeds up to 867 megabytes per second and up to 1.2 gigabits per second Wi-Fi upload. So the Wi-Fi is good. I mean that's kind of standard now on devices. I'm amazed actually that they're focusing on that, because most medium to high-end tablets would have Wi-Fi that supports speeds of that. We've got Bixby. I'm not going to talk about that because I don't like it. And it says finally a reason to put down your phone. Interesting marketing there from a company that also sells phones, but I suppose it's true. While your phone's charging, you might pick this up, as it shows in this image here. Personally, I tend to use tablets for a bit of productivity, but mainly media consumption. I think the majority of users probably will be the same. And seamlessly connect your Galaxy Tab S6. So you can, gives the example here, and it's pretty much what Apple have done for years. So Connected Plus. So if you sign into your Samsung account, your phone does things that your tablet's doing, that sort of thing. So if your phone rings, you'll know about it on your tablet. Quite handy. I'm amazed that Google hasn't implemented that into Android yet, because I'm sure the implementation isn't that difficult if Samsung have managed it. But for now it's a Samsung feature that isn't available on other devices, so hats off to them for the development of that. The size of the tablet is tiny, 5.7 millimeters thick and only 420 grams. So it's really light as a feather, pretty much. So now we will take a closer look at the specs. But we're not going to do that on the Samsung website because they tend to hide a little bit of information that they don't necessarily want you to see. Such as we don't know what the CPU is in here. I'm assuming that's to prevent you from making a comparison to see what other devices the same CPU's in and potentially save yourself some money. But we'll take a look on another site. Okay, so we'll have a look through and take a look at the specs. So we've got a 10.5-inch display. We have a resolution on there of 1600 by 2560 pixels, which is 288 pixels per inch, and it's a Super AMO LED screen. We've got a screen to body ratio of 81.93, and it's got HDR video support. It'd be nice to see if Netflix works with the HDR there, and an ambient light sensor, so it will adjust to the environment around you. Camera, the rear camera, dual camera, as already mentioned, so 13 megapixels autofocus. The second camera is the 5 megapixels ultra wide, and then it records video at up to 4K ultra high definition at 30 frames per second. And the front camera is 8 megapixels, and we've got the dimensions there and the weight, which we've kind of brushed over. It supports 2D face unlock, so not the most secure method, but it does support it. And we've got the in-screen fingerprint, and it comes in. It says Mountain Grey, Cloud Blue, and Rose Blush, but Cloud Blue is not available in the UK, unfortunately. Headphones, no headphone jack. No comment. It's got multiple speakers with Dolby Atmos, and it's got wireless screen share, and it's got a built-in microphone. So, hardware and performance, this is where it starts to get really interesting. So we've got a Snapdragon 855 SM8150, which is super fast. GPU, we've got an Adreno 640. RAM, up to 8GB. Storage, 256GB, and it'll take up to a terabyte SD card, and it has Android 9, also known as Pie. And there's some more technical details there, some of which we've already covered up. So overall, I think Samsung has seen what people are crying out for and have been for a while, which is a creativity and productivity suitable Android tablet. It'd be interesting to see how much of the iPad Pro's market that they do erode with this device. I have a feeling it won't be that significant if people have already bought the new iPad Pro, or the most recent iPad Pro rather, as it wouldn't be an upgrade from that in particularly. But people who've had some of the previous iterations of the iPad Pro may now consider moving to Android. Those of you who've watched my channel before will realise I am a massive fan of Android. I'm not a massive fan of iOS. I find it a bit too restrictive, so this is right up my street. I am now going to go and pre-order one. I realise before you put something in the comments that it's already been released in the United States and there are already reviews out there, but I'm based in the UK and quite a lot of the time we have to wait. So this record-breaking temperature sunny day in the UK, I'm now going to go and sit in a beer garden for an hour or so. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, then please do so with the subscribe button below. It helps me a lot. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.